or negative statements. For example, how long should it take us to get to the station? And it shouldn't take more than 20 minutes. Next thing we'll discuss is how we express preferences using would like and would rather. For example, the structure is would like and would rather. We have different explanations. Would like expresses desires from things that haven't happened yet. So I'll say that again. Would like expresses desires from things that haven't happened yet. And also, would like can be used in two ways. We have the would like plus the infinitive, and would like plus the noun or the pronoun plus the infinitive. And I have the following examples here. I would like to visit New York City. So I would like, it expresses desires from things that haven't happened yet. So I still haven't visited New York City, and I would like to visit New York City. And the second thing is I wouldn't like to live there though. Although I would like to visit New York City, I wouldn't like to live there. So I wouldn't like to live there though. Would you like to go with me? And would you like me to help you? So the next structure I'll discuss is would rather. So would rather expresses preferences or choices. Then plus the verb often follows it. And not comes after rather in the negative. For example, I would rather travel in the United States than spend lots of money on clothes. The second example for this question is, would you rather take English? So we have a question here, and he would rather not take history. Of course, he likes English, so he would rather take English. How can we give advice using ought to, should, and had better? The first example is ought to and should. Both should and ought to can give advice. Ought to is not common in questions or negatives. However, you ought to attend class regularly. Should you take an early class? And you should not be absent. Well, had better is stronger than should or ought to. It does not appear in affirmative questions. You could better hurry or you'll be late to class. Hadn't you better hurry, and you'd better not stay here any longer or you'll be late. So hadn't, doesn't. Expressing need or obligation: must, must not, have to, and had to. When we use must, we use must in affirmative statements, and must expresses need or obligation. When we say must, we usually want to express a need or an obligation. You must have a driver's license in order to drive. So the must here is used to express the obligation that anyone needs a driver's license in order to drive. In negative statements, however, must not expresses a strong need not to do something. It also expresses a prohibition. You must not drive without a license. So this is a prohibition. You must not drive without a license. When we use have to, we use have to express present need, future need or obligation. We use have to or will have to. You have to take a written test. Does he have to take the test in English? To get a license, you'll have to pass a driving test. So, to get a license, you will have to pass a driving. You can't just get a driver's license. You will have to pass a driving test. When we use had to expresses a past need or obligation. In most cases, it means that the speaker completed the action. I had to take the written test twice. I only had to take the driving test one time. So had to and had to. These are the obligations. When we express lack of need with not have to, expressing lack of need with not have to. Not have to expresses the idea that something isn't, that something wasn't, or that something will not be necessary. So it's something isn't necessary right now, something was not necessary in the past, or something will not be necessary in the future. It is the opposite of must and have to. So that's the opposite of must and have to. And some examples when we use not have to: you don't have to take the English test if you don't want to. The second example: I didn't have to study hard to pass. And the third example: I won't have to study late tonight. How we express possibility with may, might, could, may, might, and not. May is used in affirmative statements. May, might, and could are similar in meaning. They express the idea of maybe, of perhaps, or it's possible. For example, he might have enough money to pay the bill. So it expresses the idea that perhaps he has enough money to pay the bill. Might rarely appears in questions. He might have to borrow some money. And could appears less often than may or might to express possibility. It could rain tomorrow, may not, might not, they are very similar, may not and might not. May not and might not mean maybe not. He might not arrive on time. I might not see you tomorrow. What about expressing impossibility or disbelief with can't and couldn't? Can't and couldn't. Can't and couldn't often express the idea of impossibility. They show surprise, or they also show shock. For example, we can be surprised to show that it's 5 o'clock. It can be 5 o'clock. So we are surprised that time right now is 5 o'clock. Or the other example, that couldn't be Iran. She's out of town. So we are surprised. We can be also shocked that we are surprised that the person that we are seeing is not Iran. That couldn't be Iran. She's out of time. How we express probability with must and must not. Must usually expresses the same idea as probably. John walks 5 miles a day. He must enjoy walking. So we are not, excuse me, we are not sure that he enjoys, but expresses the same idea as probably. So John walks 5 miles a day, and we suggest that he must enjoy walking and does not appear in questions about probabilities. He must not have enough money to ride the bus. So, since we discussed these questions, I want to do a short exercise so we can work in the future dialogue that happens between a salesman and a lady. So, in the following conversation, a salesman tries to make a sale. What we do? We try and circle the most appropriate model. So, the salesman knocks on the door, and of course, he greets the woman. "Good morning, ma'am." The woman says, "Good morning." So, we have the choice here. I would like to change your life, and I could like to change your life. So, what do you think is the correct answer here? Is it "I would like to change your life" or "I could like to change your life"? You can think for a minute, and I'll get you the answer. So of course, it's would. You're correct. I would like to change your life. So, the other sentence is, "Good, my life must use a few changes," or "my life could use a few changes." So, do you think it's must or could? Think about it. Yeah, that's correct. So, it's could. So, and this sentence is good. My life could use a few changes. Are you married? Do you have any children? The woman, fortunately, yes. And then the second question is,